All right, and open my window so you can see. Okay, so yay! I feel like I haven't been on a meeting for a while because of vacations and craziness, so I'm happy to be here. Missed you guys. If you all, let's see, let's mute you. Let's have everyone mute themselves if they can, so we don't have a ton of background noise. And I tried to make an agenda for this meeting. The first one is I wanted to show you the Success Club prize for this month. I've been meaning to post it in the group, and I never did. So what it is for this month, anyone that hits Success Club in Team Chic gets this really cool sculpting band. It's kind of like a resistance band. It just doesn't have handles, but these are cool to use. You can use this instead of a resistant band. So everyone gets that plus this gold sparkly nail polish. So there you go. So yay, hit Success Club. And for those of you that did for July, I'm going to be sending you last month. I know it was, raise your hand if you hit Success Club last month. I know Megan did. And Monica and Mary maybe. And did you, Stephanie did? Okay. So I gotta mail these out. I'm totally playing catch up for my vacation. I'm just gonna go through announcements and then I'll kind of start with my thoughts, and then I want to open this up and make it a full-blown conversation about inviting because I'm not the expert. So I feel like we all have something to share, and everyone does it differently. So that's the prize for August. Another announcement I wanted to share with you guys. So I don't know if you noticed, but on my Instagram, I started doing a couple giveaways with different people that do huge, massive giveaways. So I've just been messing around because I'm really trying to build my Instagram. And so I've signed up for a couple. They cost money. So if you're on a tight budget, then this might not be for you. But I wanted to mention this to anyone that is trying to build their Instagram, that I can post this later tonight. The emails of these, you basically get on an email list for some of these giveaways, and they do like weekly giveaways, and they're huge. Like they're like, I just did one today that was $1,000 Disney gift card, and I think I've gotten already 400 new fans. Like it's kind of insane what happens. Let me check right now. Yeah, I've gotten 400 fans in like 5 hours. So it's pretty friggin' awesome. And there was one I did last week that it cost a little more. It was like $40, but I got 1,000 new Instagram fans. And they're not just spammy. Like these are women. These are like legit women who love to get free stuff. So, because at first I was like, well, I don't want to just be getting random, weird accounts following me. But I've been noticing who's following me. And these are like legit people that are my target audience. So especially like with anytime it's like I did a Kate Spade one, obviously anyone that loves Kate Spade is probably my target audience. And then the Disney one, I was like, yeah, moms love, moms are going to be the ones that sign up for that, right? So I wanted to mention this in case any of you want to invest in your Instagram and build it up. This is kind of an awesome way to do it. So I can post the emails for you tonight after the meeting, and you can get on their lists and just see if you want to participate. But I just started doing it this month, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so awesome. And then eventually, when I'm done with the giveaway, I just delete it in my Instagram feed. I only do it on Instagram, not Facebook. But it's kind of cool because I just delete it, so it doesn't look, my feed doesn't look spammy either. And I try to just do one a week. That's my goal. Until I reach my goal, and then I'll do fewer. But so I wanted to mention that. And then what else do I have in my notes? I wanted to share an announcement, something I just I've always known about this, but I wanted to share more details about it for those of you that are trying to move up in rank. Plus, anyway, I just wanted to make sure this was clear with everyone, and that is the U+2 thing. And it's basically like it's a way that you can build rank or, you know, hit Success Club or whatever. And that is that you can add a coach. And this is for anyone in your, like, this is for each coach. So this applies to like your husband's account too. It applies for him as a coach. And then it also applies separately for you as a coach. So for each coach, you can add 2 coaches under you that with your same credit card that are a spouse, a child, or a parent. The child has to be 18 years old. So it doesn't apply to everyone. But and so you could have, like, you could get to Emerald quickly if you wanted to, and if you have the income to add, like maybe your husband and your mom, and pay for both of them. So those are just some ideas I wanted to mention for anyone that's trying to build rank. You don't have to do it that way, but so that's the only time you can actually use your credit card. Otherwise, you will get emails from compliance questioning why you're, you know, like if you have a friend that buys a challenge pack and you give them your credit card, then you're going to have issues. So just the only way you can use your own credit card is the U+2 method. So I wanted to mention that because I don't think I've ever actually told you guys that. So tonight, you guys wanted to talk tonight about inviting. So I'm going to share a couple of my thoughts, then I'm going to open it up for discussion, and we will all, I'd love to hear what works for you guys, and we'll just go from there. I think one of the things that a lot of people are afraid of, I think the reason that kind of stops a lot of us from inviting is fear. And, you know, just especially, I hear this all the time, like fear of being salesy. And I think that you have to just get over that, number one, because you're not going to die if someone says no to you. And because if you don't ask, eventually someone will. Like, there's more and more Beachbody coaches every day. And so, and I feel like we have something amazing to offer. It's not like we're offering like some scammy product that doesn't work or is a ripoff or whatever. Like, we have an amazing product or opportunity that we can share with people. And so I think once you really realize that and realize that it can help anyone, whether it's with their fitness, whether it's with their finances as a coach, whether, like, it can help them in every aspect of their life, like mentally, physically, emotionally, socially, you know. So once you realize that and really have like a belief in, you know, Beachbody's workouts and Shakeology, I think it makes it easier to share it. And I think also once you really have clarity on your why, and like you get over it's sometimes I think it comes down to your why versus pride. You know what I mean? And if you have like a strong enough why, you're going to like just get rid of that pride and be like, dude, I got goals. Like, so I'm asking, you know? And so I'm going to share kind of 4 different ways that you can invite, that I consider inviting. And then we'll talk about what you guys consider inviting and what works for you. So for me, I consider inviting, number 1 is just building relationships. And that is by commenting on people's posts, liking their posts, but I don't think that's quite as effective. And starting conversations. So, and when you are starting conversations, I've been talking about this a lot, where it's in that book that I keep talking about in our PD book clubs. It's the First Steps to Wealth. She talks about forming people, and maybe you've heard of this, maybe you haven't, but forming is an acronym that says You talk to them about their family, their occupation, their recreation, and then you can share your message later on. But, and a lot of us naturally do this anyways, but this is something that, is to remember when you are starting conversations with people. So like, I just did this, a couple weeks ago. I found a friend. I actually just, her name popped up while I was on Facebook, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I wonder if she's on Facebook. And I searched it and I found her name, I added her, and like an hour later, she's like, oh my gosh, Kelly, like, I can't believe she's from junior high, not even high school. And so we started chatting, and I'm like, what are you up to? Where do you live? So I started just asking her all these questions. Where do you live? What do you do now? How many kids do you have? Blah, blah, blah. And so we just had this really fun conversation. So except for I forgot the M part, which is the message, right? But I don't think you have to do the message all in one conversation. But it's really important. This whole business is about building relationships, in my opinion. And so that's how you do it, is you form relationships by talking about family, occupation, recreation, and then you can share your message. And I think we sometimes forget the M part to share our message. But one way to do it is just kind of throw this in there. I really like this idea. I've been doing some research on different ways to invite so that I could share those with you guys, because I'm not perfect at it either. And one idea that I found was to mention, like, so after you've formed them, and hopefully all of you will memorize what FORM stands for, because we're going to, like, that needs to be part of what you do. Oh, good job, Jill. Take it down. So let's see. So after you're forming them, or even during the forming conversation, you can mention this kind of phrase where you say, by the way, I've been meaning to ask you, have you ever considered coaching? Or, so basically it's, by the way, I've been meaning to ask you, fill in the blank. So, by the way, I've been meaning to ask you that I'm starting a challenge group and I'm super excited about it. Would this be something you're interested in? Or if that feels way too direct, you can even say, do you know anyone that would be interested in this? Because then it's not really directed at them. But if they want to do it, they'd be like, oh, well, me. How about me? So I think I really liked that idea of sort of just slipping it in there. And I don't think you do that like 2 sentences into the conversation, but I think that sometimes we just get afraid to even like bring it up, and you don't want to wait till like 2 months later after you've had a conversation, or even a month later, and be like, by the way, you know what I mean? I feel like it has to happen when the conversation is semi-fresh and still is still kind of going. So I think that's something you can do. You can slip in anywhere, so I really like that phrase. Other ways to invite is like using event, and you guys can raise your hand if you want to add to like specific things I'm saying right now before I open it up. But using event pages for your upcoming group. So we've done this with sneak peek groups, but I haven't done this as much with challenge groups, and I think it's a pretty easy way to just be like, I've got a challenge group going on, and just go through. It's basically like an invitation on Facebook saying, I'm doing this, and you just click through your friend list and invite them. You never know who's going to want to do it. So that's an idea as well. I also, in my research, someone was saying that you can do a Google Chrome mass invite tool. Have any of you tried that before? Nope, me neither. But I was like, oh, well, that sounds interesting. So that might be something we have to research. But what else? Oh, and then there's the private messaging. Like we were saying, when you start a conversation, then you can private message them and say the by the way thing, or do the, hey, I'm starting this group. do you know anyone that might be interested? So a couple things I wanted to mention about messaging people is that when you do this, it boosts, like it makes your images show up in their feed. Like they're more likely to show up in their feed. So that's why it's better to message people. Like I was thinking about this and I'm like, I need to message people more just to like make sure that they're seeing my stuff now. So instead of posting on their wall and saying happy birthday, message them and say happy birthday. Or instead of commenting and saying, oh my gosh, your dog's so cute, what kind of dog is that? You can message them because it feels more personal anyway, and then you're going to be more likely to show up in their feed. So that's something I want to try to do more often, because it's a lot easier to just scroll down, comment, and be like, oh, that's so cute. And I'm saying, don't message them on like, oh, your son's so cute, or, you know, something that really wouldn't get a conversation going. But if you have some, you know, maybe a question or something like that, I think it's worth messaging them, because not only are you starting a conversation, but you're going to boost your image. You're going to make your images show up more in their feed. What else? So one thing that I was noticing, like Bridget Linford, or Brigida Linford, she's an amazing coach. And what she did when she first started was she literally, well, first of all, she went through her high school yearbook. She like got her high school yearbook out and added everyone in her high school that she could on Facebook. And I was like, oh, wow. Like I hadn't even thought of that. So she added all those people, even people older and younger that she remembered. And she did that same like with church and whatever. And then she went through her entire alphabet. Like she would do like 3 invites a day where she started conversations. And she would go through the alphabet A through Z and like make, you know, start conversations. She said if she doesn't know them, if they're kind of totally a stranger, then she'll just go on their page and, you know, comment or whatever. But I was like, wow, we could all stay super busy if we if we did that. And that's kind of what we're doing with the listing that like Gabrielle taught us and that we've talked about before. But I was like, wow, if I just went through A through Z, like we could do some damage. We could sell some challenge packs, right? So I just really think it's more about starting conversations and then mentioning, not forgetting the M in form, like mentioning what you're doing. Because what's the worst that can happen? They're going to say no. And then you're going to be like, okay, cool, move on to the next. Like it's just a no for now. And your response is next. Like, and I mean, I've been doing this for a year and I've had so many people come around and be like, okay, I'm ready. Okay, I'm ready. So you just never know. It's really, you're planting seeds. So those were my thoughts that I wanted to share with you guys about inviting. And so I'm going to open it up to everyone and I want to hear your thoughts. You guys can unmute yourselves on just kind of what's worked for you with inviting people, maybe tips or even questions you have. But yeah, I want to know what works for you guys.
So I haven't tried this yet, but it always seems like if I can talk to somebody in person, I'm better at like explaining like what it is. Like I don't come across, I guess, in messaging as well as I do like talking to somebody, like how excited I am about it. So I actually just had this idea of maybe instead of messaging them, like sending them a short little video or even like a voice message that's like, hey, I'm doing this challenge group, and, you know, that expresses how I feel instead of trying to type it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anybody done that?
I know Coach Caleb posted a video of how he does voice messaging, like on YouTube. He posted that video on YouTube, but he talks about how he uses the voice messaging system. And I agree. I think people can sense your passion. They know you're not like this robot that's just copying and pasting.
Mm-hmm.
And so I love doing voice messages because I'm lazy. So I like doing them even in texts too. Like sometimes I'll ask them if it's easier to, because some people are not on Facebook that much. So I'm like, if it's easier for me to text you, let me know. And then I'll text them and I'll send them a voice text with my iPhone. I don't know if, every phone's capable of that, but I've been enjoying that. But then at least on Facebook doing it, because I've had so many people be like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know you could do that. Or they'd be like, wow, it's so fun to hear your voice. So I think that's a really good point, Jill. Then they can hear enthusiasm and know like, oh, she's a human being.
Yeah. Apparently I don't type very enthusiastically, but I talk more enthusiastically.
Yeah. Does anyone else use the voice, like had success with the voice messaging? Yeah. Stephanie, were you raising your hand? No.
Sorry. No, I was just saying, no, I haven't even tried it. That'd be something fun to try, though.
Yeah, it is fun. Like, and it's a little easier too than typing.
Yeah, no, I feel like I spend so much time typing up responses, so that'd be genius. And I feel like people would like actually understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Like, listing everything, because I want them to know like the worth of a challenge pack. So I'm like listing everything, and then I'm like, this is a really long message. Like they would probably not like check out like the second sentence,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I was going to say something too. I'm glad you brought this up, Jill, because I was doing a call with a bunch of diamonds on Micah's team, and one of the diamonds shared a tip she does is because she has kind of a big Instagram following. And so anytime someone on Instagram says they're interested, or even if they just comment, they're interacting with them, whatever, you can make videos on Instagram. So you can private message someone on Instagram, do a quick video and be like, hey, I'm just, I've been like, I don't know, whatever, like, I noticed that you commented on my post. Have you ever, I've got a group going. I'd love to have you. Have you ever thought about doing something like this? That kind of thing. And then it's like, oh, there's a person, there's a face, you know what I mean? So that's something that she did. And I was like, oh, that's genius. I didn't even know you could send videos on Instagram. So that's an idea too, just to get that like personal touch.
I just find that when I send a voice message to people, there's quite a few that don't know about voice messaging. Don't even check it. So if I'm going to send a voice message to someone I've never sent one to before, then I'll usually say, hey, I'm on the run, but I want to get this info off to you, so I'm about to send you a voice message. Make sure you listen to it. Because I've had at least half a dozen times where they're like, oh, I didn't even realize there was a voice message there. They like totally somehow skip over the little play triangle and just see what I write underneath.
Oh, that's funny.
I don't know, maybe that's just me, but that's happened quite a few times. So I always say, okay, I'm sending you a voice message. And they're like, whoa, I didn't know you could do this.
That's smart. Yeah, I have noticed that a couple times. And sometimes I'll follow up with, I'll do the voice messages and then I'll do something under it that says like, did you even get this voice message? Like, just want to make sure you got my voice message or something. So that's a good idea, Jody. Anyone else? How many of you do phone calls very often?
I did one today.
Nice.
Usually if it's somebody that I know and I feel it's going to make a difference, then I'll say, hey, do you mind if I just call you to explain it all since it's a lot of info? Or would it be easier to chat over the phone?
Yeah.
I always ask if it would be easier if I just called them. If it's somebody that I know and I have access to their phone number. I just feel like if I know them, it makes it seem like I'm not just trying to quickly sell them something on social media.
Right. Yeah, I do think it's so important to hear your voice. I mean, I've done some phone ones, but they always take a lot, it takes a while. But, and I've had pretty good success with talking to potential coaches on the phone. But I think you can get almost the same effect with like the voice text that we're talking about. So I think I think that's a good idea that we all, try to implement those a little more. Anyone else have want to share some lines that they use that are effective? In fact, this just reminds me, while you guys are thinking, I'll share a couple things that don't work. And I've mentioned this before, but in case you never heard it, one thing that doesn't work is saying, let me know. And because when you say, let me know, that's like saying, that's like putting it in their hands and let me know in 2020. You know what I mean? It's it just kind of, I think, leaves the conversation dead or hanging. And it's hard not to do because that's such a default phrase, I think. But I've been trying to end with a question every time. So instead of saying, okay, well, let me know when's a good time for you, or, I'm instead of saying, let me know, just be when do you think a better time for you to do this would be, so just turning that let me know statement into just a full on question, because I think you'll get, because then it leaves the conversation, it keeps the conversation going. Then they have to respond. And then if they don't respond, you can be like, hey, did you get my last message? That kind of thing. Sometimes I think people just need a nudge too, I know there have been several times where I'm like, hey, did you get my message? They're like, oh, I'm sorry, things are crazy, blah, blah, blah. And then they respond. So anyway, but always ending on a question has worked really, really well for me. And I'll share some of the ones that have worked well for me. So I'll say, I love the 21-day fix because of the color coded containers are my favorite. Here's a video link. And then I say, do you want to know more details about pricing, etc.? That's one of my lines that I use. Or I'll say, do you want me to send you my link? Or I'll say, does this sound like something that you might be interested in? Yeah, those are my three favorites probably. Or do you want more details? Or are you in? You know what I mean? Just anything that kind of makes them respond is really effective. So any other thoughts?
Did you already say what are your goals?
Yeah, that's typically at the very beginning. What are some of your fitness goals or struggles? And I wanted to mention this to you guys. So this is something new that I just started, was doing the WooFoo forms. So I just started, and I don't know if any of you got a chance to look at them, the one that I just made this week, but it's been kind of cool. I've had a handful of people fill it out, and it was really cool because, I ask them kind of what does your typical daily nutrition look like? And what is your favorite type of workout? And I give them multiple choice. And so I had one girl that was like, oh, I love to run. And she's like, and we eat pretty healthy. And she's like, but running just hasn't worked for me. And I can't remember everything she said, but it was cool because it gave me something to talk to her about. I was like, oh, I ran, I used to run in cross country. In fact, I sent her a voice text because she posted her phone number. I said, post your cell phone number if you prefer text. And she did. So I texted her and I'm like, hey, I saw your message. Or I said, I got your application that you're interested in coaching. And I'm like, I used to be a runner and I love, and it just wasn't getting me the results I wanted. And I love this new program that we're going to be doing, 21-day fix. And then just kind of went into conversation there. So it was cool because I had a starting point and I knew where she was coming from and I knew her fitness goals, like Jody was saying. So it was kind of cool that I wasn't just guessing what she wanted. It was I knew more of what she wanted and it could help her get that. And that's really what this business comes down to. That's what we learned at Summit. Remember, Jill?
Yep.
They're like this.
Everyone matters.
That's right. And they said it's all about finding out what people want and helping them get it. That's really how it works. And so it's not what you want, it's what they want. So that's helped me kind of just like get to know them a little better so that I can find out what they want and then I can respond a little better. So that might, plus it's kind of nice because if no one comments on your post, then you just say like, fill out this application here if you're interested. And like, if no one comments, you don't look like you're like, oh, no one's interested. You know what I mean? Because they filled out an application and no one knows if 20 people did or 2 or 0, So that's kind of nice too. So try that out. Try out the form. I think it works well for the coaching and the challenge groups.
So with the challenge groups, do you just say like, have you ever been interested in a challenge group and like have someone fill out, or do you like send it out after they've mentioned that they would be interested in one?
So sorry, I should clarify that. So that's like when I do an actual social media post about a challenge group. It's not in a personal message or anything.
Uh-huh.
I could though, but I feel like it's, it might be kind of silly to be like, well, fill out this form and then I'll talk to you, But for the, like when I'm doing a social media post, like I did one Tuesday that was like, hey guys, this program's on sale. If you're interested in it, fill out this, or I said, apply here. And I posted the link to the form. And then I had a few people fill it out. So now I have just more information and more about their goals and their struggles and how to help them. So that I kind of like that.
Gotcha.
Anyone else want to share lines that have worked for them?
So I've just been kind of doing exactly what you've said, like hey, I don't know if this is for you or not, but I'm starting a fitness accountability group. It starts so-and-so date. Would you be interested in any more information, or do you know of anybody that could use something like this? And that seemed to work pretty well, like, because a lot of people don't think I'm like referring to them. So a lot of people are either like, oh, actually I'd be interested in info, or they're like, oh, actually could you send me more information because I want to pass it on to some of my friends. So I'm like, okay. It worked really well. People are like pretty like open to that kind of question, I feel like, and no one's really been negative about it, and people are pretty good about responding to it too. Because I feel like if you're like just like, hey, you want to join my next challenge group, then a lot of people just like ignore your
yeah. I really like the indirect way of being like, do you know anyone that might be interested, because then it's just, so that's awesome. And that's the thing is that, and I have to admit, I have not done that as often as I should. And so I was thinking about it, I'm like, gosh, even if I just did one a day for a month, that's 30 messages. You know what I mean? That's 30 people you've invited. But we know that we should be messaging probably 2 to 5 people a day with that question, So think of like I just can't even imagine you not hitting Success Club if you're doing that every day,
Mm-hmm.
So honestly, like there's no way I would have ever hit Success Club if I didn't personally message people.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been doing it since I signed up as a coach, because I just reached out to Mary. I don't know if she's on this call or not, but I reached out to her because she was a new coach as well. She's like had started 1 month before me, and she hit Success Club her first month. And I was like, hey, I want to hit Success Club. What did you do last month? And she told me like, I just send out personal messages and people were interested. So ever since then, I've been like, okay. So every single day I'm scared for my life when I'm sending them, but I do it anyways. So like, I feel like it doesn't get any easier. It's just that like, it just kind of becomes habit.
Yeah. I love that. Oh, I love that you said that. That's
so quick. So Stephanie, are you messaging just friends, just kind of sending a personal invite out to just your group of friends? Or are you just, how are you?
So I do it all through Facebook, and I just use the messaging on Facebook. I've like invited some close friends, and I usually text them because that's like how I would normally communicate with them.
Mm-hmm.
So like normally I just say, hey, so-and-so, like and then I do like my little spiel of not sure if this would be for you or not, but I'm starting this on so-and-so date. Do you know anyone that'd be interested? So that's what I normally do. So, and people respond pretty well to that, even if I haven't talked to them in a while.
Okay.
And then with some people that I like really have never really met or in person, but I've like kind of commented on their stuff and they've commented on mine. then like for those people, I usually talk to them first in a personal message, and like get to know them a little bit better. And then like I'll bring up that I'm a Beachbody coach or something, and then they like ask more questions. So sometimes I'm like building relationships with people on Messenger, and then sometimes I'm like actually sending out personal invites. But I try to do both every day and try to do 3 invites a day and then actually build relationships as well on top of that. So I spend a lot of my time when I'm on, like when I'm doing my work, in the messaging app. So.
Right. Oh, that's so awesome. I think that's where we should be. Like, I think if you're doing your job, you should be in the messaging app the majority of the time, and then occasionally in your groups and stuff, and occasionally commenting. But don't you think like that's where the real success comes from, is actually like messaging people, following up, and building relationships, like you're saying, Stephanie?
Yeah. So like I've decided that every day I'm going to spend like 15 minutes, and like no more than that. If I don't have time that day to work, like only 15 minutes on commenting and liking. And then the rest needs to be spent on like actually deciding who I'm going to invite that day. And I need to be better about having a list beforehand, because sometimes I'm like scrolling through my Facebook friends and I'm like, who should I invite today? So that takes a lot of my time, so I should be better about that. But because for liking and commenting, for me, like it hasn't helped me in any sort of way as far as getting challengers. It's only helped in like building relationships, which is good for the future. But if I want results today, then I have to personally invite today. So.
Amen, sister. That's awesome. I think that's so key to success. I was going to say something, but I can't remember. Anyone else want to add to what Stephanie said?
I do the exact same thing Stephanie does. Every morning I sit down and I spend about 15 minutes talking to people, commenting on their stuff. I send messages, hey, how are you? What's going on? And then I send messages saying, hey, I have this challenge group coming up. And I say the exact same thing. Do you know anyone that's interested? So I do that every morning too. I've gotten like, some are like, yes, I am, but I just can't do it right now. I haven't had any challengers say yes right now, but I have formed relationships out of it.
That's good, Michelle, because honestly, I've had people that said that like 2 months ago, and they're my challengers now. So it'll come around.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
And I think one thing that really helps is like, if they're like, not now, but like, let me know when your next challenge group is. Make sure like when they do that, I put it on my Google Calendar. In 1 month, I'm going to let you know. You know what I mean? So
that's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
Yes. I put it on my Google Calendar. Yes.
Yeah, smart. And I wonder, Stephanie and Michelle, if you could, quickly, like, it seems like it wouldn't take that long to maybe either copy and paste those, or even just go through the voice messages if you've got it memorized by now, and just go through and do voice messages of 3 or 5 people or whatever.
Yeah. Sometimes I copy and paste, and sometimes I'm like, I try to adapt it to like how I would speak to them. I feel like I speak to different people differently. Like if they're older and they're like friends of my mom's or something, I'm going to like speak to them a little differently than I would speak to someone my own age.
Yeah, totally.
Like I would say like, I'm doing a challenge group for mamas, and I like say that to like my friends, but like if it was somebody else, I probably wouldn't do that. So
you're like mothers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, I do think it's important to like customize it. And so like sometimes I'll copy and paste, but I'll throw in something so that they know, like with the, how I was saying they fill out forms. I'll sometimes copy and paste, but I'll add in like something custom so they know I read their form. They know that like it's not just a copy and paste every time,
Right.
But I do think I'm all about automating too.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, like you guys were saying, 15 minutes, that's not that long. Like think of if we could all invest 15 minutes every day, I think we could do some major damage, if we all were in the messaging, inviting 3 to 5 people, even 10, or more, however big your goals are, then and that doesn't take that long. So good thoughts. I'm so inspired to go start And I was going to say, Stephanie, you were like, oh, I should keep track of who, how I'm going about it. And I think a good system would be is like, how we talked about grouping your lists on Facebook to like Monday list, your Tuesday list, your Wednesday. So you could go through that Monday list and like, boom, like try to go through the entire Monday list. You know what I mean? And go through the entire, just work your way through those lists.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
And then of course we have to add new people, right? So that we don't run out of people.
Right.
So, anyone else have any other thoughts they want to contribute? Okay. Well, I think this was an awesome conversation. I'm inspired to go message a bunch of people and follow up. Like, I think that's key too, because some people are like, yeah, I'm totally interested. And then you're like, what are your fitness goals and struggles? And then they're like, nothing. Yeah, they just don't respond. And that's when you have to be like, did you get my message? Following up is huge too. So don't forget that. Well, does anyone have any other questions they want to ask while we're all together? Since this, we have a couple more minutes before it's been a full hour.
I have a question.
Okay, wait. How do I say your name? Because that's Andrienne. Is that it?
Sure.
Or Andre? Tell me how so I don't butcher it.
It's French, so it's Andréane, but that's okay.
Okay. I took French. I can do that.
I feel like a lot of people that I end up contacting are people who actually already enjoy going to the gym and they don't like working out at home. And like the inviting part doesn't bother me so much as I don't know what to say after that. Because they want to be around other people. They want to get away from their kids. I'm like, well, what can I offer you? So I kind of get stuck there with a lot of people.
You could tell them they can do their own workout and you could still offer them Shakeology. And then you could talk to them about whatever program is on sale because it's only $10 more. And then I know this is probably not something we're supposed to do, but you could tell them they could go and like sell that to a friend or regift it and then end up saving money themselves. So I've never tried that, but I always am like, oh, I should do that sometime. If somebody says that, like just be like, oh, well, do you want to do Shakeology for a month? And talk to them about how that can help them even with their goals, like as far as going to the gym and stuff like that. So I don't know.
I told people that for me, I guess I told them my own story in that I used to go to the gym and took me, number one, takes forever to get, it's like a 15-minute drive there. You got to get ready. You got to get a sitter. That's gas money. There's however long to drive back. So by the time, for me, that was my problem was okay, yes, I love to be around people. I'm a social butterfly. But by the time I would get there and get back and do my workout, it was 2 hours later. And then I've still got to shower and get ready. You know what I mean? It was like a 3-hour investment that I had no time to do. I've got 4 kids. I work from home. And so that's something I mentioned them. I just say well, I'd be like, oh yeah, I used to love the gym too, but here's what here's my dilemma. And so I'll mention that. I've also told them how a lot of Beachbody coaches you still do go to the gym. You can do hybrid versions, not virgins, of the workouts. So you could do they could go to the gym Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then do the workout. And then do the workouts Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. So they can still combine it with their gym and still get some sweet results. I honestly, and I also tell them that I personally have gotten better results from these home workouts than I ever have from the gym. So for me, that was what do we ultimately want? We want results, right? That's why they're going to the gym. And so for me, it was I don't even hardly go running anymore, even though I liked it, because it's I'm going to get better results from doing 21 Day Fix,
Well, to add to that, these programs have a start and an end. Whereas when we're going to the gym, we're going to the classes, we're going running, whatever, oftentimes we don't have a program in place and we don't have nutrition in place, and that's why we're never seeing results. Whereas this, we know when we're going to start, we know when we're going to end, And for me, that's motivation as well, because I'm like, okay, the end is in sight. I'm counting down the days. I'm getting to like my goal, and I'll be able to take a picture at the end and get my goal. And when I was going to the gym, that never happened, because I just never, there was never an end unless I could afford a personal trainer.
Yeah.
That wasn't going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I also tell them about Beachbody On Demand. So if they want to go to the gym and work out, they can just take the on demand and do a program there. If they need people around to like actually stick to a workout. And then they've got it on the little phone there, and it's like having a personal trainer at the gym.
They recently came out with an app, didn't they? Or they're coming out with an app, a Beachbody app, I heard. Is it only in the States?
No, I know they can't. See, I wasn't sure like what they consider like app, because they have it on Roku now and on like Chrome and Apple, right?
Amazon Fire.
Amazon Fire. So, and that's what they were calling app. I was wondering if they actually were going to have an app on my phone, because sometimes I'm like, oh, it'd be so nice to just.
I thought they came out with a Beachbody channel specifically on Roku, which wasn't the Amazon Fire one. It was
I have the one on Roku, but can you get that on your phone? I guess I have Roku on my phone. I think it's just the remote, actually.
Probably. I don't think you can get it on your phone. It's a server.
Yeah.
You get to be connected to the internet and to the server somehow.
Yeah,
but if you have like internet on your phone, you can stream it off of the Beachbody website, and I've done that. I mean, it actually will go to like a full screen video.
Okay.
So, Jill, do you remember from Summit when they announced the app, was it just the Roku one, or were they actually going to do a phone app?
I think they're working on the phone app, because they're working on the phone app for challenge groups.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah. So I think they had it set up for like Roku and all that, and then they're going to do an app for the challenge. Do you remember when they said that was coming out?
It's beta testing in August, and then depending on that group, what comes out of that, then it might be available in September or October.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet. I just thought of something else regarding inviting. So one other thing that I do, and I haven't had any amazing success with it, but at least I put it out there. And I'm wondering if any of you guys do something similar, if you've had success with it. But I always like when they say, okay, I want a challenge pack, and I send them the link and they buy it, then I'm like, yay, I'm so excited. I try to give them a free download of either the 7-Day Eat Clean Meal Plan, that's a PDF, or the 21 Day Fix Cookbook PDF that I created, and it should be in the files section of our group. Correct me if I'm wrong. But so I try to give them that, and then I ask them, like, when I first was a challenger, I did it with my sister, and it just made it was more fun, and it made it more, people have more success when they have like a friend to do it with. So do you have any friends that might want to do this? And if you do, you'll get a BFF bonus Lululemon card for $25, because I feel like I'd rather them recruit more people than me. And I have had one girl actually did a whole post on it, like, hey, I'm doing this, blah, blah, blah. But I haven't actually had people be like, oh yeah, da. But I'm curious if any of you ask for referrals, or if any of you offer like referral bonuses, and if you've had success with that. Anyone?
I've tried it and I haven't had success, but I'm still gonna try it every time, because you never know. Someone might say yes, and it doesn't hurt to be like, "Oh, awesome! I'm so glad that you're joining. Do you have anybody else in mind that would like to do it?"
Yeah,
takes 2 extra seconds, so you might as well.
Right. True that. I know. I don't even know if I should offer the card, because I feel like it's not.
Well, I offered. So this is kind of funny, but when I posted about the free Fixate cookbook, if they sign up for 21 Day Fix, I'd already had a challenger that had purchased it that month, and she was like, "So do I get this?" And I said, yeah, actually, for my current challengers, what I'm doing is offering a free Fixate cookbook for anybody they refer to my next challenge. So she's like, oh, okay. So she didn't get anybody, but I was like, that's the only way to make it fair, because she's already purchased it,
That's smart. That's really smart, Stephanie. Smarty pants.
I felt like really dumb because I'm like, I didn't even think about that. Like, what am I going to do for the people that already got it?
Nice. But I do think it doesn't hurt. It never hurts to ask for a referral.
Yeah.
And get them thinking about it, because it is more fun. It's more fun to do with a friend. I really did do it with my sister the first time, and we were both like, did you do it? Ah! We were both like cheering each other on. So my other sister, not Jill.
No, this one.
So, okay, well, this was a great discussion, you guys. Anyone else have any other questions before we wrap it up? Okay, do we have any? Oh, I forgot to introduce new coaches on here. Liz is joining us. So everyone say hi to Liz. She is new.
Yes.
Kayla's pretty new. We've got Michelle, who's new. Carly's back for more fun. Who else? Denise isn't, you can't see her, but she's here. So we got some fun new coaches added to our team. I'm excited. So thanks for joining us, ladies, and we will see you guys next week. I'm going to try to get a guest speaker next week to talk to us. There's a girl I want to talk to us about how she converts challengers to coaches. So I think that'll be a good one. We'll see if I can get her on here. But anyway, thanks for joining us, and keep on questions. Let's all make it a goal to like invite at least 3, like actually let's personally message people, at least like 2 to 3 people each day, if not more, this week. Okay. And then share like what's working, what's not. And so we can, keep this conversation going. All right. You guys are awesome. Have a good night.
Hear me, Kelly?
What? Who is it?
It's Liz.
Oh, yeah?
I was wondering if anyone marketed to men, and if not, what you do when you get one.
I typically don't market to men, but I'm trying to think. I think I had one challenger that was a guy, but he was like my husband's coworker. So I don't know. I treat him pretty much the same.
Throw them in.
Yep. Put him in the group. Get him on Body Beast. That one works really well with dudes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. 21 Day Fix is actually a really good one. I've had some guys do the workouts with their wives. Like, they're just like, oh, yeah, I'll do it. And they're like, that was a good workout. Like, because they can do the heavier weights if they want to throw in a heavier weight. They can, but it's still, like, it's really still a good cardio workout.
Right. Yeah, my husband, one of his favorites is the 21 Day Fix cardio.
I have a friend whose husband's doing it, and he really enjoys it.
Yeah, I got to scream just so that mine would do it with me, thinking it would be more challenging for him.
Yeah. Nice.
You saw
throw the extreme in there for guys, because then they're doing something extreme, right? Like it's.
You did see the story. There's that story out there that Eminem used Body Beast to help him overcome his addiction to pain pills or something like that. So you could tell kind of, if you wanted to twist it that way, that, there's an actual like celebrity that's used that men's program or men's.
Yeah. That was on the Beachbody blog or something, right?
Mm-hmm. It's in Men's Health this month.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I had a customer whose husband used Body Beast, and he got ripped. Like, seems like it's a good.
I want to do it. I kind of want to do it.
I know. I've considered it.
I did it. So if you want to do one that's more like Body Beast, but not as like long, like, because I got it and I did a couple of the days, and it was like, I was like, I need something faster, and I need somebody that doesn't talk like he's like, come on, bro, let's do this. Like, it's bad. Anyway, but I'm sure guys love it. But I've been doing Chalene Extreme that's on the Beachbody On Demand, and it uses the heavier weights, but it's Chalene, so it's more like upbeat and Chalene style, and I love it. So I think if you have a woman that wants to do heavier weights, instead of sending her to Body Beast, have her do like Chalene Extreme. That's my thoughts.
Sweet. Was someone else going to say something? A couple of you were talking and I don't know if we cut you off. Okay, well then we're done. All right, good night, you guys.
Hey, good night.
Good night.